Hi yogis, it's Cassandra. Today we're doing an hour-long flow to open up and stretch our hamstrings. You'll want to have 2 blocks for a practice and start by placing them at the top of the mat. And I'll also ask that you have a strap close by. Let's begin by lying down on our backs. Keep your knees bent, feet flat to the floor. Draw the shoulders down and away from the ears, palms can rest on the belly, and maybe widen the feet a little bit so that the knees can drop in towards one another. Taking these first few breaths to get grounded and settled. Softening the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders. Allow the legs to relax. And start to breathe deeply into the belly. So every time you inhale, feel the navel lift up. And on the exhale, allow it to soften down and lightly pull back in towards the lower back. Really pressing all of the air out so that the next breath in can be a little longer and a little fuller. Staying here for our last 5 or so breaths. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice, now would be the perfect time to do so. And we'll warm up the body a little bit more. Let's pull our right knee in towards the belly. You can either hold on to the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. If this is enough of a stretch, stay exactly as you are. If you did want to go a little bit further into the pose, you can extend the left leg down into the floor. Really reach into your left heel, try to straighten the leg, flexing at the ankle so the toes point up until you get that nice stretch to the front of your left hip, deep into the hip flexors. It might feel nice to just sway your right knee a little bit side to side, warming up the joint. Keep the lower back lightly pressing into the floor. Arms and shoulders are soft. On your next inhale, lengthen the left leg a little bit more. And as you exhale, try to pull your right knee a little bit closer in towards you. Taking our last 2 full breath cycles here. If you happen to have your left leg straight, let's bend it once more. So the left foot comes flat to the floor. We're gonna come into half happy baby. So you'll need to catch a hold of your big right toe with your 2-piece fingers, and you're going to stack your right ankle directly over the top of your right knee. Try to keep your right arm to the inside of your leg so your elbow can help press the knee open a little bit wider. As you try to draw your right knee down a little bit more towards the floor and towards your right shoulder, keep flexing that foot, and if you wanted to take this one step further, you can re-extend your left leg. So if the left heel is hovering off the ground, it might just mean that your hip flexors are really tight, so you can bend that knee a little bit. Otherwise, keep it nice and straight. On the inhale, we extend, and on the exhale, we create space by drawing and pulling that right knee down a little bit more. Trying not to lean on one side more than the other. Keep the weight evenly distributed. See if you can pull the knee down a tiny bit more. And let's bend our left knee, bring the foot back to the floor. You're gonna bring your right knee in towards your chest again, but this time let's interlace our fingers behind the back of your right thigh. Straighten the leg up towards the sky and start by really flexing the foot and reaching through your heel. If you'd like to take this a little bit further, you can slide your palms further up the leg and pull the leg in towards you. So we're just warming up. You might find that your hamstrings are really tight here, so feel free to bend and stretch that right leg or keep a bit of a soft bend in your knee. You never want to be locking your joints or hyperextending. And getting deeper into the ankle and into the calf by extending and reaching through your heel as much as you can. Try to bring your toes in towards the belly. And let's alternate by now pointing the toes up towards the sky. Stretch at the front of the foot. See if you can maybe pull that right thigh in towards you a little bit more. Taking deep breaths. And let's release, pulling both knees in towards the belly, maybe rocking a little side to side, massaging the lower back. And we'll switch sides. So left knee stays where it is, right leg comes down to the floor. Up to you if you want to keep your right knee bent or if you're going to extend your right leg straight, flexing into that foot, pressing into the heel, getting really long so you feel the stretch into your right hip flexors. And just like we did on the first side, you can sway a little bit the left leg and the left knee side to side. Warming up the left hip and into the lower back. Breath is still smooth and steady, in and out through the nose. As you inhale, lengthen the right leg, and on the exhale, pull the left knee in a tiny bit more. We'll transition from here into our half happy baby. Right knee bends, foot comes flat to the ground. Catch a hold of your big left toe with your two-piece fingers and reach the heel up towards the sky. So you're aligning your ankle directly over the top of the knee. Use your elbow to press the leg open a tiny bit wider. This might be more than enough for you, so please stay here if you'd like. Otherwise, right leg straightens once more. Reaching into that heel, trying to pull your left knee down. Draw the shoulder blades down the back so there's still no tension in the neck. If your right shoulder starts lifting off the floor, try to keep pressing it down. Take one more deep inhale. Exhale to let it go. And let's bring our left knee back in towards the belly. Bend the right leg. We're going to take that hamstring stretch. So interlace your fingers behind the belly of your thigh. Extend the left leg up towards the sky and really flex the foot as much as you can. Get that nice stretch into the ankle and in the calf. And then you can slide the palms further up, maybe bend a little bit into that left knee before re-straightening the leg. Just get a feel with how your hamstrings are feeling this morning and how your lower back feels. You're trying to get your toes to point towards you. And let's switch by pointing the toes as much as we can. Get a nice reach at the front of the foot, still drawing your left thigh in towards the belly. And let's release the pose. Bring both knees in towards your chest. Give it one big squeeze, maybe rock a little side to side. And we're gonna make our way into our tabletop pose. So hold on to the backs of the thighs and you can rock up and down the length of the spine a little. Get some momentum until you can cross at the ankles, and you're gonna plant your palms down and bring the knees back. So tabletop stance, you'll want your hands to be underneath your shoulders and your knees to be underneath your hips. Start by pointing the toes back. Spread the fingertips nice and wide and press into the fingertips and knuckles, warming up the spine with cat and cow. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, and curl tailbone up. On the exhale, round the spine, drop the chin towards the chest, create space through the shoulder blades. Move through a few more and go at your own pace. So on an inhale, we're lifting, and on the exhale, we slightly contract. Focus on the upper back as much as the lower back. Try not to bend the elbows or let all of your body weight sink into the wrists. Be really mindful of your joints. Last full cycle. And coming back into our neutral tabletop pose. We'll set up for our first downward facing dog, so most of us will probably need to walk our palms a couple inches past the shoulders. Keep the fingertips spreading nice and wide before tucking the toes under and lifting your hips up and back. This is our first down dog, so go ahead and paddle the feet. So bending one knee, straightening the other legs, swaying the hips or shaking out the head. We are focusing quite a bit on hamstrings today, so get that nice stretch by lifting the tailbone up and back, reaching through the hips, pressing the chest to the thighs. Shake out the head. And we'll look forward towards the top of the mat. Take as many little steps as you need, taking a ragdoll fold. Feet will be hip-width distance apart, maybe a little wider if you know that your hamstrings and low back are tight. And as we fold forward over our legs, you can grab a hold of the opposite elbows and maybe sway a little side to side. And we want to be really mindful of our lower back so that we're not locking our joints. Keep a tiny little bit of a bend. Shifting the weight back and forth into the heels and into the balls of the feet. Let's release our fingertips back down to the mat. Bend your knees generously and slowly roll all the way up to stand. Take your time, coming up inch by inch. Head and shoulders are the last to make their way up. And we're gonna draw the shoulder blades down the back, palms shine forward. Keep your feet hip-width apart. Allow the eyes to close. Take a breath in mountain pose. Standing up tall. Creating the solid foundation through all four corners of both feet. And we'll start with our half sun salutation. Standing at the top of the mat if you're not there already. Big toes come together. Heels are about an inch or so apart. As you inhale, reach the arms all the way up towards the sky. Bring your palms together to touch. And as you exhale, hinge at the waist, fold forward. It's our first one, so bend your knees generously, soften the neck. Halfway lift, flat back, fingertips on your shins, shine the heart forward. And then exhale, fold down once more. Press to stand, both arms reach up overhead, palms come together to touch, lift and look up. And then exhale, hands at your heart. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, flat back, deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Press to stand, come all the way up, reach through the fingertips. Exhale, hands at your heart. Last time, inhale, lift, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Press to stand, both arms reach up overhead, palms come together to touch. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Let's take our first full vinyasa from here. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, swan dive. Release all the way down to the floor. Take your halfway lift, flat back. And then exhale, plant the palms, step both feet back to plank pose. Strong in your plank, kick your shoulders over the top of your wrists. Squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Inhale. And on the exhale, lower down to your belly. Pointing the toes back, lifting up to cobra. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Lift chin and chest up. And then exhale, melt the heart forward and down. press and make your way back into your downward facing dog. Reach into the heels, lift the hips up a little higher. Let's extend our right leg up towards the sky, bend your right knee and open up that hip. Try to squeeze your glutes a little to lift that right knee up a little higher, and keep pressing your right shoulder down so nothing changes in the upper body. Let's straighten and square our right leg so the knee and the toes point down, and then pull your knee in towards your chest as you ripple forward through into your plank pose. Look past your palms to the top of the mat and carefully set that right foot forward in between the hands. Lower the left knee down to the mat, lift up into your low lunge. Being mindful not to let your right knee go too far forward past your ankle. Try to lift out of the lower back, opening up the chest and pressing your hips forward and down until you get that nice stretch into your left hip flexors. 3 breaths here. Looking wherever helps you hold your balance. And let's make our way into our half splits. So fingertips can either come down to the floor or you can rest your palms on your blocks if the floor is a little too far away. And we're gonna straighten the right leg and fold over that right thigh. So as you open up the hamstrings, your left hip is gonna wanna pull back a little bit. See if you can prevent that from happening by pulling it forward and drawing the right hip back. Feel free to bend the knee a little bit if you need to. Soften the upper back, the neck and the head, and start by flexing into your right foot so the toes are pointing straight up. Let's point the right toes as much as we can. Try to get your foot flat to the ground. Crawling the fingertips forward, lift your chest up about halfway. Come back into your lunge by bending into that right knee. You're gonna keep your left hand either down to the floor or onto a block. Extend your right hand back, bend into the left knee, catch a hold of that foot and pull it in towards you. So going deep into the quads, careful not to let your hips come up to meet your heel. You want your hips to be pressing down and you're bringing your foot in towards you. And if you're holding onto that foot, keep drawing your right shoulder back so there is a little bit of a twist. And you can always use your strap to catch a hold of the foot if it's a little bit too far away. 3 breaths here. Always trying to press the hips forward and down a little bit more and lift out of the lower back. Start to look down towards the mat. Carefully release your back foot. Don't let it slingshot to the floor, so engage the hamstrings to carefully place it down. Palms come down to the ground. Curl the back toes under so you can lift your left knee off the floor. Walk your hands towards the left side of your mat, setting up for a wide-legged forward fold. So both feet end up being parallel to the shorter edges of your mat as you hinge at the waist and soften down. Feel free to widen or narrow your stance depending on how tight or open your hamstrings and lower back are feeling today. And see if you can walk your palms further back in line with the feet. And sometimes we tend to lean all of our weight into our heels. Try to rock it forward just a tad. Take one more full breath here. And then walk the palms out in front of you so you can lift your chest up about halfway. You're gonna turn your heels in and your toes out, moving back and forth from Skandasana pose. Start to bend into your right knee. Keep the left leg straight and flex the left foot so the toes point up. As you inhale, lift all the way back up. And on the exhale, bend the left knee, keep the right leg straight and flex the right toe. So just see how far or how low you can get. Try to keep all 4 corners of your feet down to the mat. So inhale, lift up. Now the right foot stays glued to the floor. Flex the left toes up, bend the right knee. Take one more. Inhale up. Exhale, bend the left knee, right leg is straight. And we're gonna come all the way back to face towards the top of the mat. So lift the left heel off the ground, right toes are pointing forward. Plant the left palm down, reach your right arm up for a twist. Take one breath, open the chest, And as you exhale, bring your right hand down towards the floor. Let's take our flow. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, maybe chaturanga this time as you hover and hold halfway. Cobra or upward facing dog. Hips are off the mat. Exhale, down dog. 3 breaths here. Shake out the head, paddle the feet. Any little movements that you need to do. Ground into the fingertips, second side. Reach your left leg up and back, bend the left knee and open up that hip. Keep squaring and pressing your left shoulder down. Squeeze the glutes and lift the knee up a little higher. Let's straighten and square our left leg so the knee and the toes point down. And let's pull the knee in towards the belly. Look past your palms to the top of the mat. Carefully set that left foot forward in between the palms. Right knee down to the ground. Inhale, arms up. Find that same low lunge. We want to avoid dumping in the lower back here and creasing too much. So stay slightly lifted. Draw the tailbone down, pull the navel in, and lift from here as you press your hips forward and down. Look wherever is comfortable for the neck and wherever helps you hold your balance. One more inhale to lengthen, and then fingertips will either rest on the blocks or down on the floor. Half splits the second side. Left leg straightens as you fold forward. Start by lifting your toes, pointing them up towards the sky. Try not to let your right hip open up too much. Keep trying to square it forward, even if it means you need to bend your left knee a little. Pointing the toes, get all 4 corners of your left foot flat to the ground. Stretch at the top of the foot. And lift your chest. We're coming into our quad stretch, so bend the left knee, plant the right hand down, extend your left arm back, and pull your right heel in towards the glutes. Remember, you can always use your strap to make this pose a little bit more accessible. We're not lifting the hips up any higher. We're just bringing the foot in towards us, opening up the quads. Carefully let go of your right foot. Palms to the floor. We're going to come into our wide-legged fold. So curl the back toes under, lift your right knee up. Walk your hands towards the right side of your mat and spin both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat as you fold. Hinging at the waist, maybe narrowing or widening your stance depending on what is more comfortable. And the further back you walk your hands, the deeper the stretch will be down the hamstrings. Paying attention to the quality of your breath so that it's not short or shallow. And let's wiggle our fingertips forward so we can lift our chest a little. We'll come back into Skandasana. So turn the heels in, toes out. We're gonna bend the right knee first this time. Flex into that left foot, and you can even use your right arm to help press the knee open a little bit wider as you drop your hips. Inhale up, and exhale. This time left knee bends, right leg is straight. One of my favorite ways to stretch out the hamstrings. Inhale up, exhale to lower. Last one. Left knee's bending. And we're already there to the top of the mat, so keep spinning yourself forward. Left toes are pointing towards the top of the mat. Right heel is lifted. Plant the right hand to the ground and reach your left arm up. Take your twist. One deep breath in. And as you exhale, lower the left hand to the floor. We're gonna take our flow. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga, lower and hover halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Reach into the heels, press your chest to your thighs. Straighten the arms. Let's extend our right leg up towards the sky. Keep it straight and squared. And then carefully set your right foot forward in between the palms to the top of the mat. You're going to grab a hold of both blocks. Bring them on their highest level. And then on an inhale, we're gonna bend the right knee and drop the hips down and lift the chest for our high lunge. And on the exhale, we're gonna straighten the right leg and fold over our thighs for a variation of our pyramid pose. So inhale to your lunge, and exhale, pyramid pose. 3 more like this. Flow with your breath. Inhale to lunge. Exhale, right leg straightens. Inhale, bend the right knee, drop the hips, look up. Exhale to fold. Last one. Lunge on the inhale. Exhale, make your way into your pyramid pose. So we'll move our fingertips from off of the blocks. You're gonna bend into your right knee again, engage your core, and come up into your high lunge. You'll want your feet to be hip-width distance apart. Right knee is bending generously. The left knee might need to bend a little bit as well. Stay lifted and tall through both sides of the waist. Let's bring our hands at our heart to help us out with balance. Find something to focus on, and we're gonna come to stand at the top of the mat, lifting our left knee up with us. So standing tall on the right leg, left knee draws in. Squeeze the hip flexors to lift that left knee up as high as you can, and we're gonna bring our right hand onto our hip. Catch a hold of your big left toe with your 2-piece fingers. And depending on how the hamstrings are feeling, you can start to straighten that left leg forward. So feel free to bend that left knee as much as you need to. Steady breaths. Take one more inhale to lengthen the spine, and then come into tree pose. Set your left foot to the inside of that right leg, either to the upper thigh or down into the shins. Press your left knee open, bring your hands at your heart. Find something to focus on that is not moving. If you'd like to take this balancing pose a little further, the arms can reach up, and you can always shift your gaze up as well. Take one more inhale, lengthen. And as you exhale, release hands to the sides, both feet down, shake out the legs. Let's take a flow. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward, hinge at the waist. Halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, and you can step or hop back, chaturanga. Upward dog, inhale. Exhale, down dog. And let's go do the second side. Left leg extends up, deep breath in. And then exhale, carefully place that left foot forward in between the palms. Place your hands on the tops of your blocks at their highest height. As you inhale, you take your lunge, so left knee bends, hips drop, looking up. And on the exhale, straighten the left leg and fold. 4 more times with your own breath and pace. Inhale, lunge. Exhale to pyramid. Bending the left knee, dropping the hips. And both legs straighten, press into that right heel. Try to keep your hips square to the top of the mat. Find your lunge, inhale. Exhale, fold. Last one. Pyramid pose. Relax your neck. And let's bring our fingertips closer towards the floor. Start to bend into your left knee, engage your abdominals so that you can be really strong through the upper body as you lift up into your high lunge. Left knee is bending, right knee might need to bend a little bit as well. Super strong legs. Let's bring our hands at our heart. Find something to focus on. We're gonna stand on our left leg and pull your right knee in with you. So super tall. Let's bring our left hand on our waist. Catch a hold of your big right toe with the 2-piece fingers, and you can extend that right leg forward. It really does not need to be perfectly straight. See if you can stand a little taller on that left leg. And we'll make our way into tree pose. So set your right foot to the inside of that left leg, either up towards the inner thigh or down towards the shin. We're pressing our right knee open, so deep external hip rotation. Hands can come at the heart. Squeeze everything in towards the midline, and if you did want to go a little more into this pose and challenge your balance, the arms can extend up. Take another inhale. And exhale, release, feet down, and let's take our flow. Inhale, reach the arms up, bring your palms together. Exhale, hinge at the waist and fold. Halfway lift, flat back. And then exhale, plant the palms, step or hop back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. From this downward dog, please reach your right leg up towards the sky, bend your right knee, open up that hip nice and wide. Reach through your left heel, see if you can stretch a little bit more. And let's straighten and square our right leg. Carefully set your right foot forward in between the palms to the top of the mat. Spin your back heel at a 45-degree angle. We're coming up into our warrior one. So both hips and both shoulders are facing towards the front of your mat. Arms will reach up. Biceps along the ears, bend the right knee a little bit more. Really stretch into your left hip. And let's bring our hands on our hips. You're gonna straighten your right leg and bring your back toes in just a couple inches. So narrowing your stance. We have our blocks still at the top of the mat, which is perfect. Square your hips forward. As you inhale, lift and look up. And on the exhale, hinge at the waist and hold about halfway to the ground. So already you should start to feel your right hamstrings engage. Keep reaching and pressing into your left heel. And just notice how that left hip wants to open up. Pull it forward. Press into both feet and legs strongly. Inhale, come all the way back up. If you'd like to go one step further, left arm will reach up. So inhale to lift. Exhale, hinge at the waist, halfway down and hold. Inhale, press and lift back up. If you'd like to take it one step further, both arms up this time. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, hinge at the waist. Keep reaching and expanding super tall from the tailbone all the way up into the tips of the fingers, and we'll fold down towards the floor. So if the floor is a little too far away, grab a hold of one or both blocks so you have more support. Bending the knees as much as you'd like. Remember, hip bones are facing forward. Five more breaths. And bring your fingertips forward a little bit so you can lift your chest. We're gonna bend into our right knee so that we can bring our palms about 6 inches in front of your right foot. Feel free to use a block if you'd like, coming into our standing splits. So standing on the right leg, left leg reaches up and back. You could choose to stay here. If you wanna work on your balance a little bit more, start to walk the fingertips closer in towards your right foot, or you can catch a hold of that ankle with one or both hands. So if that's what you're doing, keep your gaze really steady and make sure you're not holding your breath. Don't let that left leg act or be dead weight. You really need to engage and squeeze the muscles in the glutes, down in the hamstrings, all the way into the toes. Take one more breath. If you're holding onto your ankle, let it go. And we're gonna come into our half or full split. So bend the right knee, bring your left toes back behind you. Start by dropping the left knee down to the floor. Catch a hold of one or two blocks if you'd like. And it's up to you if you want to do exactly like we did at the beginning of class by just straightening the right leg and folding forward in your half splits, or you can straighten a little bit more and ease your way into your full splits. So this will look different from person to person. My favorite way to do this is to just prop a block underneath my hips so that I have a little bit more support. See if you can keep your back toes curled under. So your hips are squared, shoulders are squared, everything facing forward. 5 breaths. Lifting up and out of the lower back. Okay, those of you in your full splits need to bring your fingertips forward a little bit. We ease out by coming into our half splits. So left knee stays bent and just slide your right heel back in. You can move your props out of the way and let's take our flow from here. We're all gonna bend the right knee, plant the palms down. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. And just shake it out, 3 breaths here. So that flow definitely opens up the hamstrings, especially with that split in there. So let's go do the second side. Left leg up, bend the left knee, open up that hip super wide. The action of squeezing the glutes to lift your left knee up is that same action you're gonna wanna take in your standing splits. Let's straighten our left leg, look forward, and step that left foot in between the palms to the top of the mat. We're coming into warrior one. So right foot spins at about a 45-degree angle or so. You're pressing into both legs to lift up, arms reaching up overhead. Left knee is bent, pull the hips facing forward. See if you can drop your hips a little bit more. And let's bring our hands on our waist. Straighten the left leg, bring your back toes in just a couple inches. Squaring to the top of the mat. As you inhale, lift the chest. And on the exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs. Inhale, come all the way back up. This time, right arm extends up. Inhale to lift. Exhale, hinge forward. Hold halfway. Inhale, lift up. Both arms up this time, stretch super tall. Exhale, engage your core to protect your lower back. See how tall you can grow in this pose from your fingers all the way down into your tailbone. And let's fold forward into our pyramid pose. Feel free to catch a hold of your blocks. If your right hip starts to open up, just keep trying to pull and squeeze it forward. And let's transition into our standing splits. So crawl the fingertips forward. Start to bend into your left knee. You'll need to bring your hands about 6 inches or so in front of that left foot so that you can stand on the left leg and reach through the right leg. Remember, we're engaging the muscles in that leg. Don't let it be soft or bent too much. Really engage. And then if you want to challenge your balance, you can start to walk your palms back. Make sure you're looking down at the floor, not looking back towards the back of your mat. Find something to focus on that is not moving, and you can hold onto your ankle with one or both hands. Strong, steady breaths. Keep reaching and extending. Use your glutes to help you in the pose. And if you're holding onto your ankle, you can start to release. We're coming into our full splits. So drop the right toes back behind you, right knee to the floor. Half splits first as you just straighten your left leg. And if you want to go further, reach that left heel forward and wiggle the right leg back. I'm going to do the same thing I did on that first side and just prop a block underneath my hips. 5 breaths here. Back toes are curled under to help that right hip pull forward. And if full splits is too much, just stay in your half splits. These are all just options for you to take or leave depending on what works. Let's come out of the pose, walk your palms forward, start to bend the knees a little bit so you can move your block out of the way. We're gonna take our final vinyasa. So we all bend into the left knee, plant the palms to the floor. Inhale to plank, exhale chaturanga, inhale upward dog, exhale to your final downward facing dog. Make the most of your time in this pose one last time by pressing into the heels, stretching out the arms. Just notice how much different this pose feels than the first time you did it. Maybe your heels are a little closer towards the ground, or maybe the back of the legs feels a little bit more open. And let's set our knees to the floor. Grab a hold of your strap, and let's lower all the way down onto our backs. Let's keep our knees bent, feet flat on the mat, exactly like we did at the beginning of class. And you're going to use your strap and loop it around the ball of your right foot. Hold on wherever works and just extend that right leg up. So this is really similar to what we did when we were holding on to the back of our right leg, but we're going to use the strap so that we can go a little bit deeper into it. Up to you, either the left knee stays straight or you straighten the left leg and reach through that left heel. 5 breaths here. Trying to pull that right thigh in towards the belly. Relax the jaw. Let the back body be heavy on the mat. And from here, let's transfer the strap into our right hand. Extend your left arm out to the side. Keeping that left shoulder grounded will help make it easier for you to keep your weight evenly distributed so you don't roll over to one side. The right leg is going to open up towards the right side. So if you do feel like you're rolling over and dropping completely, you might find it a little bit easier to hold this pose by bending the left knee and keeping that foot flat to the ground. So play around with it, find what works. If the reach is there, you can always just not use the strap and catch a hold of your foot instead. I like to use the strap, it gives me a little bit more leverage. Three more breaths. So we're going to bring our right leg all the way back up to center. You'll need to bend your left knee so that you can lift your hips and your shoulders and wiggle a little bit over towards the right side of your mat. Re-extend your left leg, switch the strap into your left hand, right arm out to the side, and drop your right leg all the way over towards the left. So get that nice deep stretch into the IT band, and there's a little bit of a twist here. Try to keep your shoulder blades grounded to the floor so the collarbones are facing up. And the more you flex into your right foot, the more you should feel this stretch all the way down the leg. And let's bend into both knees, release the strap, bring your hips back to center, and we'll switch sides. So this time hook the strap around the ball of your left foot and extend that left leg up. Stay here, or the right leg will straighten also. Try to pull that left thigh in towards your belly. So the arms do need to work a little bit in this pose, but try to make this as passive and as easy as you can. We want to cool down from our practice, focusing a little bit more on longer holds, less on strength and effort. We're going to switch the strap into our left hand, and you can reach your right arm out to the side as you drop your left leg all the way down. So remember, if you feel like you're rolling over, keep your right knee bent and your foot flat to the ground. Knees can be as bent as you need them to. Take one more full breath all the way down into the belly and into the hips and low back. Engage your core to bring that left leg all the way back up and bend the right knee. Wiggle your hips a little bit over towards the left side of your mat. Re-extend your right leg. Strap should be in your right hand now. Left arm reaches out to the side so your left shoulder stays exactly where it is, and then drop your left leg down over towards the right side of your body. So crossing that thigh over. Keep flexing into that left foot. Use your core, bend the knees, come all the way back to center. And just move your strap, set it off to the side. We won't be needing it anymore. Pull your knees in towards your chest, rocking a little side to side. You can either take your knees wide apart, trying to bring them in towards the armpits and shoulders, or you can come into happy baby, grabbing a hold of the soles of the feet, lifting both ankles up so the ankles are over the knees, using your elbows to press the legs open a little wider. With every inhale, lengthen the spine, press the tailbone down to the floor, and as you exhale, try to pull your knees a little bit lower, drawing them in towards you. Let's release the pose. Let's straighten the legs straight up towards the sky. Flex and point the toes, roll the ankles. Let the lower body be completely weightless and the upper body be grounded. Reach your palms back. Keep your palms completely pressing down into the floor so fingertips are reaching towards the back of the mat. Press your lower back to the floor. We're going to make our way into Savasana, but engaging our core along the way. So reach into the balls of the feet, squeeze the inner thighs together, and slowly drop the legs. Keep your breath smooth and steady, and try not to let the lower back lift off the floor. If it feels like too much, just bend your knees a little bit. Otherwise, we're slowly lowering down until the legs come all the way down to the floor. And then take up some space, setting up for Savasana, our final resting pose, drawing the shoulders down and away from the ears. Coming back to whatever breath is natural to you. Smoothing out the muscles along the forehead, in the jaw, down the neck. Take a moment to recognize how the hamstrings feel now, as opposed to when you first stepped onto your mat. Enjoying these last few minutes of rest and relaxation. Giving your body the opportunity to integrate all the work you've done. Start to breathe a little bit deeper. Feeling the chest and belly rise on the inhale, soften on the exhale. Wiggling fingers and toes or turning the head from side to side, just gently waking yourself up. You can take one final stretch by reaching the arms up overhead. Get really long from fingertips to toes. And you can bend the knees. And we'll just roll over on one side. Use your arms to help you up into a comfortable seated pose, either cross-legged or kneeling. Eyes can stay closed, focusing inward. Letting the palms rest on the knees. Sitting up nice and tall. Hands come at the front of the heart. Take one more inhale through the nose, fill up the belly and lungs, and out the mouth. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste. I'll see you soon.